You're laughing your ass off at my team.
There's also
shut up. He's going to be the number one overview player for this year in the
no chance.
Maybe besides Dylan Moore.
No chance.
Okay. No, Cornwall's got Dylan Moore. That's it.
No chance. There's no chance.
I don't like his release. I stopped talking about it.
I didn't say it once, but since you brought it up. Francis.
I just got
Francis.
I just got concussed.
Doesn't care.
Tom Mitchell doesn't contest the tug on the ball. Thomas kicks the winning goal and he got 140. Vice captain right now.
Welcome back to SuperCoach Masters. I'm here with SuperCoach Pro Rank 47 SuperCoach Pro. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing pretty good, thanks, mate. Not bad for a Monday. Team's flying and just, nerve-wracking about the trades coming up to the week. But other than that, mate, the team's looking good.
Mate, what a week of carnage, mate. We've got to talk about the Horne-Francis injury. We've got to talk about Callaghan's shoulder, MACRAE's back scans. It's all happening this week. But let's just go through some of the trades that we made this week and what we done. So Jamie ranked 715, catching up here. Tom De Koning, Nevitt was out. Sinclair and Erasmus came in. Myself, I've used my last boost to buy TDK and Henderson out. I thought I'd get some cash then. Sinclair, Al Hawley, and Marich. Maddie got rid of Kleb Daniel for CJ, that Giant, and Tom De Koning for DCAM. So, Maddie's trying to risk it all. And yourself, you got rid of the two biggest mid-prices. The Ashcroft, Ned Long cash cows have come to an end. And Sherry, and what a pick was Simpson was for you.
Yeah, it was a good move in the end. I was looking at the rookies and none of them really stood out to me. The role on Simpson being across half-back was pretty decent. So I had to go early on him, I think, and it turned out to be the right choice. So, very good trades. But Ned Long ended up getting like a 94, so that was slightly annoying. But I just thought his time was coming anyway to grab Cherry. There was no other week to do it than this.
Yeah, you need to kind of put those big ones in to get that big Sherry. Now you're not going to be missing out on those big scores, and hopefully you can get up there, mate. So, but as I said, you're ranked 47. You got your own YouTube channel. You pump out some good content for the lucky people that have subscribed. Where can we go to see what the experts are doing, mate? Where can we find you?
You can find me on my own YouTube channel, the SuperCoach Pro, and then on Twitter, I'm there as well. It's SuperCoach Pro 91, but just on those platforms mainly. So having a good season,
mate. Is that your icon there? Is that like you in a Richmond top doing like what is it, bent over rows or something?
Yeah, it is. I needed a new logo because I was sick of having like a selfie as my little display picture. And one of the guys in the X community made it up for me, and it's stuck ever since. Yeah, right.
I think Hippo SuperCoach is the only one rocking the DP of his face as the as his logo. But credit to the man; he's incredibly handsome. But let's get into some actual SuperCoach, man, because man, we've got a big week ahead of us. Where have you gone, mate? You've disappeared like Homer in the bushes behind you. We're going to talk about what we're doing with Horne-Francis, what we're doing with Callaghan and MACRAE. How many of these blokes do you have, mate?
I've got 2 out of the 3. So I've got Finn Callaghan like yourself, and I've got MACRAE. Oh, no, I don't got all 3 like you, though.
Yeah, no, I got all 3. We heard so the news is that Horne-Francis is going to be probably missing anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. Most likely 3. With the bye, only 2. But Port thinks he might get up for that GWS game, which is in 3 weeks' time. So he could miss this week, have his bye, and play next week. So effectively, you're only going to miss 1 game from him, maybe 2 at that GWS game, man. To me, I know you don't have the Hornet, but even with his massive break-even of 157, I'm probably still keeping him because we're at that stage where, man, the trades are looking a lot lower than what I would like. So I think I'm going to keep him, man. What would you do?
I'd probably trade him playing for rank. Like, you've only got, 3 or 4 upgrades left on your field, and you got how many trades do you got left in your circumstance?
We've got 17. And, well, that being said, like everyone's going to be like that doesn't have Horn Francis. They're going to be upgrading. You know, they're going to be like getting rid of these dud rookies to get a better player. So even when you're playing for rank, but like if Horn Francis is going to be off and I can have a Cleary covering him for 1 week and that score rolls out or whatever it is, then I'm still going to get a primo in if I get rid of like a trainer and a Kako and put that in and get someone. But like if I just trade out Horn Francis or someone, I'm going to be a primo behind when he comes back, aren't I?
Yeah, correct. You are. So, yeah, with that, you're going to have to trade at least 2 out of the 3, you'd think, and hold 1. I'm in the same thing. Like Callahan's got a dislocated shoulder. I'm trading him, but Jack MACRAE with the back, he's so highly owned. If people jump off him, I kind of want to still be on him when he does come back. Just the timeframes are concerning. Over the buys, you can sort of hold these guys anyway because these best 18, so you don't have to get rid of any of them, and you can just upgrade around them like you're saying. But I do think at least 1 of the 3 has. It's the same with that shoulder because I've done it 3 times before. It's more like a 4 to 6 week injury, generally speaking.
Well, GW was to come back and on their Twitter have said it's a minor injury and he's going to miss more short term. They haven't put a time frame on it yet. If it was just like a bit of a minor dislocation, which is what they're saying, they put a 2-week injury on that. Is that something you would still consider, or is he gone no matter what, unless it's like 1 week, or even if it's 1 week, is he out?
He's out regardless because with a dislocated shoulder, there's no way he's coming back 1 to 3, and even if he does, there's a huge chance it comes out again. So, if he comes back within 4, I don't know. I'm just going to sell him because I've done the shoulder 3 times before, and I know how long it takes to get back.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
thanks for that info. It's handy to know, mate. So looks like I'm more likely going to trade Callahan than Horn Francis now. MACRAE. So if MACRAE is just sent for back scans, we don't have how long he's out for. So we'll make up like, all right, what would we do if it's 1 week? What would we do if it's 2 weeks? And what would we do if it's 4 weeks plus? Obviously, 4 weeks plus is a trade. If it's a 1 or 2 weeker, mate, what do you personally recommend for MACRAE?
I reckon he's, like you said, if he's a 1 or 3, you're probably holding. But if it's a 4 plus, you got to get rid of him, you'd think. But over the buys, again, if you can upgrade your rookies around these guys and hold the primos on the side and you've upgraded around them, by the time we get out of the buys, you'll be fully upgraded while everyone's sidewaysing like you're alluding to before as well. So, unless it's a 4 week plus, it's probably definite. So we're really hoping on those Tuesday injury sheets that they come really clutch for us here because, it's a little bit stressful having all 3 of them, I can imagine.
Well, Jack MACRAE, I mean, is there any concern that he's got 3 scores of 70 in his last 4 weeks? Anything to like kind of, think about that kind of point if he's maybe out for only 1 week or 2 weeks? Maybe it's someone you can jump off who'll get 70s when he comes back and upgrade around there, or you think Jack MACRAE is the one you want to keep the most?
I suppose it depends how many forwards you have as well. Like if you've got already 7 forwards and you can cull one, being MACRAE, depending on the severity, you'd cull him and you'd use that money in the midfield and maybe grab a Sarong for 10k more, and that could be an M8 and you're done for that line. I'm in the same scenario. I've got I think about 7 or maybe even 8 forwards, depending on my trades this week. So you could easily get rid of MACRAE, put him into the midfield, and then play an Ashcroft forward if you weren't going to trade him. But I didn't realise he had that many 70s, I guess. And he wouldn't be the worst antipod. Like, you got to antipod some players, and he would actually be a really good one to antipod, I suppose.
I think he's actually in 100% of the top 1% of teams. So, and with a huge break even, it could be time to cash him out. However, I do see stats, and I don't hate them. I mean, 27 touches, 3 tackles, 23 touches, 1 tackle against Carlton, a bit down. That massive game against Freo, and then 26 touches, 3 tackles. Still not the worst for 70s, but you can make a point both ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, there's a good chance that he could still be playing, so let's not talk about him for too much longer. Let's talk about some trade-in options, mate, because I think there's about 3 rookies, and you've already nailed one of them that we can bring in this week. We got Cooper Simpson, who's playing off the back line. You can only select him as a forward line player. Negative 53 break even, as 53 and a 71. Not bad, man. Not the greatest stats. He did kick a goal, but 14 touches. Is he your front runner, Cooper Simpson?
Yeah, he'd be the number 1 rookie trading. I just got lucky with this one, like going early on him. I just thought the role was there out of all the rookies, and I'd be going him if I didn't have him this week for sure.
Yeah. Well, also keep an eye on Hugh Boxall, because he didn't play. However, West Coast beat St Kilda, and you think there would be some heads rolling, and you'd think maybe the box man, who had a great stat line in the VFL from what I remember, I think it might have been. This is just Matty's stats, so don't quote me on it. About 25 plus touches and like 120 fantasy points. He could be one to come back. Jeb Hughes was a horrible pick. Shame on you, 11,000 people for getting him. Everyone knew that. And there's Jackson Binns, who I'm not opposed to. He's a bit of a higher price. I can't even find him. Jackson Binns is about 170K. He had 14 kicks on the weekend, no handballs. Have you had a look at him, or not for you?
I've definitely had a look at him, but I don't want any more rookies until the mid-season draft. I don't really want to pay 170K. I want to wait next week, next Wednesday, I think. So in 9 days' time is the mid-season draft. So I don't want to pay 170 when I can potentially get 99K rookie downgrades. So I wouldn't do it. I don't mind going early on to Coleman instead. But
on Keaton Coleman.
Yeah, Kitty Coleman, just the roles there. The time on ground was low, and he still scored fairly well for a first game back. But yeah, Binns, I don't know. I don't really.
14 kicks.
Yeah.
It's true. He's a bit of an elevated price, but there isn't much on the weekend. If you need a couple of downgrades this week, they're probably the 2 best ones, maybe Binns and Simpson. There is someone else who had a highly elevated price, mate. If you want to tell me your thoughts on Big Dante Vicentini, obviously depends on your structure if you can fit a ruckman in there, because he's got 2 pretty good scores, a 98 and an 84, 33 hit-outs each game. He's not a possession machine, 6 tackles, which is pretty impressive. And if Sean Darcy's not in, I think he can get some good taps against Luke Jackson. Obviously, he's going to make a bit of cash if he continues to pump out 80 to 90s, mate. What are your thoughts on him? Maybe not for your structure, or don't recommend anyone picking up him?
Not for my structure, but if you scroll down there on his next game, after that, let's say he puts in a bit of a stink around 11, you've got the bye around the 12. If he doesn't play around 13, 14, 15, 16 over the buys, it's a very dead pick. So if you're putting him on flex, you're really banking on him to do well this week, hoping he gets his job security, sold for another week to solidify that, because he's got Sweet and Soldo waiting in the background. So I don't really love that. It's too risky for mine. Like, I've already done the Flynn thing. I'd wait for maybe a Crosley if he gets the mid-season draft for Essendon and Goldie gets out. I'll be looking at a 99K guy there, or there's another guy that they've got, Essendon do 119K ruckman. I can't remember his name, but he could be an option instead. I don't know if they bring him in. And the other player we got to talk about before you get rid of these rookies is probably Sheldrick that people are keen on.
It's his brother, Vigo Vicentini.
Yeah, so that's the guy that I've been hearing might get a gig if they wanted to go elsewhere with Goldie.
Yep.
And then you got Sheldrick, who wasn't sub, had a huge first half and only had 10 points in the last half. We know what he can do in a full game. It's just, do you trust him not getting subbed out? So for me, in order, I'm probably going Simpson 1, ranking it. And then I know it's a bit of a left field one, but I'm probably rating Sims number 2 as a ruck forward.
Ooh. That's Richmond bias right there, mate.
It is, but I think if you wanted Luke Jackson when you hear Sean Darcy's missing a few weeks, wouldn't be the worst thing to put him in your forward line for now, get rid of your Boyd or your R3, chuck Sims in there, and you could put, a way where you could field Jackson over the bias to cover your ruckman. by grabbing Sims. Sims' job security is pretty good as well. Like, he's only trying to play better than Samson Ryan and Liam Fawcett in Richmond's twos.
Yeah.
And Richmond played 3 talls, and he's a pinch ruck, so he won't get huge scores. He'll probably average you 50, but he's one for like basement 119. It's basement enough to be an okay cash cow for 70k less, mate.
Yeah. And you like him better than, say, a more expensive Sheldrick or something like that?
Well, yeah, only because it's upgrade season. So I'm not looking at Bins for 170 or a Sheldrick for 190. I know Coleman's 270, but there's a world where he could be a safe D7. That's how I look at it.
I don't know about Coleman, man. I mean, what did he get? He scored a 70. Yeah, he's back from injury, but he's one of the most, I would say, top 10 injury-prone players. And I mean, fair enough if you got 100, but a 70, you know, if you go early on him, he gets another 70. What are we paying for here? You know? 68% game time. I mean, is that going to be standard now?
Nah, no way that I keep him to that. They're just managing him as well. And it was a close game, and Melbourne won that as well. So I don't mind going early on Coleman. He took 1 or 2 kickouts as well. So you know the role's going to be there. Like, Brisbane do like to chip it around their back line between Zorko, Wilmot, and all those other guys. It's probably something I'm looking at as for my D7.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what about all those people? They went early on Philippou, and now they've got their pants pulled down. Would it hurt to just wait another week on him, or is it more of a situational kind of trade?
Situational, but again, like the role wasn't really there with Philpo. We saw him play forward the week before, whereas you're taking a punt on a guy that's a half-back flanker as opposed to a guy that's a half-forward flank potential CBAs. Whereas Kitty Coleman is taking kickouts, he's half-back flank where you rack it up as any rookie does. So it's more about role rather than going early. I mean, Coleman, you can definitely wait another week, which I probably will anyway, personally. But it's something I've tinkered with anyway, just because even if he does poor game in this week, his price won't drop anyway. And like I said, it's probably one I just keep for the season if I brought in Kitty Coleman.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, let's start talking about upgrades, mate, because there is plenty of good players at plenty good prices. And I know we're probably going to maybe do different things here. You'd like to go a little bit left field. I like to go straight down the guts. But I'm not paying any ridiculous price for any of these guys. I know you had to pick up Sherry and 150 justifies it, but I'm not picking up a Gorn, a Sherry, a Bont, a Bray. You know, any of these guys are going to wait for them to get a bad score. Like Butter's got a 53, his break-even's now, 200. Same with Merritt, his break-even's 200. So let's scroll down and see what we actually want to afford. So I don't want any of these guys, mate. You stop me if you see a player that you're thinking about getting.
Yep, I like Dacos, but his break-even's very high at the moment, Nicky Dacos.
Yeah,
you've already got him, but he could be 540k next week. That's something I'm looking at next week. Tom Green's probably a this week play.
Yep, 100% is. Look, he's got a pretty nice run coming up. Carlton, Richmond, Port. He's pretty solid numbers, you know, like only 2 numbers, you know, in the 80s. The rest are all above 100, so pretty solid. You know, he touches the footy heaps, and he's got the really nice buy. He's got a last buy, so he'll play all for you throughout that. I got Dawson. Do you have Dawson?
No, I don't like the roller coaster effect. I was considering him though.
He does play West Coast this week though.
Yeah.
Last time they played 158 points. So
yeah, it's definitely. You can only have one of those roller coasters or 2 of those guys. Like, you don't want a whole team of the 71-30 guys, like Max Holmes, and that would be an annoying combination.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. Max Holmes is exactly like Dawson in the back line. Now, this is where it gets kind of, you know, you pick who you like. There's Took Miller, who's gone, that's his lowest number of the year, 99. And he's in so many low teams, and probably one of the best buys, Collingwood, Richmond, Sydney and Gold Coast. I imagine you wouldn't have 4 primos in that buy. So me personally, I'm looking in to bring in someone from that buy because I've only got Dacos and Roberts.
Yep.
Noah Anderson, 152 he scored. Still pretty affordable. And obviously there's Matty Rao. We'll skip over these blokes. And Matty Rao at 464, mate. Do you like any of the Gold Coast boys?
If I had to, it'd probably be Anderson 1, Took 2, and Rao 3. Rao's a bit of a downhill skier. I have looked at him, but he's got like really high scores against all the shit teams, and then against the good sides, he's been pretty average. And he's got a few tag games in there. Apart from Hawthorn, he hasn't really shown the consistency against the big dogs this year.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll probably have Rao first, only because of the price. I mean, 80K is almost like a downgrading a Kako to someone, but that price for me, Matt Rao 1, I think Took Miller's going to be in 3 and Anderson's going to be in 2. But I think I need to pick one of these blokes, and I'm firming for Matty Rao. He might be a bit of a bully, but he's got St Kilda, and they're worse than West Coast, so hopefully he gets a big number. Yeah,
it's not the worst shit. I mean, for the price point, it's definitely value. I'd almost rather... how much more is Sarong?
Sarong is, I think, where is he? I already have him. I love Sarong, so...
Okay.
He's 529, coming off 117. First time someone tagged Brayshaw instead of him. I loved it. But yeah, Sarong's a pretty good pick, man. I mean, 93K down in his usual price. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a really good pick. Even like an LDU is quite cheap as well. I know people around 12 buy heavy as well, but he's quite cheap. I wanted a midfielder. I don't know. Sorry, go on.
Now, if we're going to get rid of Horn Francis and Tom de Konings, maybe people can actually get around 12 player now without much. I can't because I already got, I think, 4 or more. So, but LDU, I mean, I wanted him when he was a little bit cheaper as well, but I had like 6 or 7 primos in that buy. Not for me only because of the buy, but he's obviously a great player who can have a big impact if you pick him. So, not the worst shout. I do like Josh Dacos.
Yeah.
Matty's man. He's actually been I thought maybe when Howard come back he'd struggle a bit, but man, he looks like the best Dacos by far. Look at these last 5 weeks where his lowest was 90. Pretty steady numbers. He's not going to really rock any 130s, I don't think. But man, I don't know, man. I don't mind him. What do you think about Joshy D?
Yeah, I like him. I think he's got a 5-round average of about 108.
Yep.
And yeah, it feels like he's finally found form in that role over the last month and a bit. So I've looked at him in my side as well, and the DPP is certainly handy. Heaney's one I've heard mentioned as well a few times, but he's got one of the best inside mid fixtures along with the Giants. There's not enough VCC material for Heaney, for my liking, though, this year.
Man, I'll tell you, if he start I think he got a lot of CBAs on the weekend, and he's usually been playing forward a little bit more this year. And I don't know why. He was such a good midfielder last year, and they put him in the guts. He got 38 touches, 2 goals, 5 behinds. Man, that could have been one of the all-time great games. But man, if they continue playing him the way they did, and they won, so I don't see why they wouldn't. He could be a really good pickup, man. He's got a really good price at 517, a really good buy. He's part of that Gold Coast, Collingwood, Richmond buy that I really want to focus on. A low break even, only 5.7% of teams, so he's not a bad pick, man. I don't really hate the idea of bringing in Heaney this week with Melbourne, Adelaide, and Richmond to come.
What do you think of Shai Bolton as well? Because Heaney's a good pick, especially in the fixture. Have you thought about Shai?
I have thought about Shai. I think about anyone who's scoring the way they are at that price. What is he, 430?
Yeah, 430 something. Yeah.
So, Shai Bolton. Now, this is what scares me, and this is what I like. So, I'll go through the things I like. What I like is a -8 break even. I mean, if he gets 100, he goes up 50K. That's pretty much a moneymaker. What I like is these numbers is 150, 114, 102, 115. These aren't the worst, 80s to 90s. And what I don't like is this 5. This is not an injury-affected 5. It's not a sub-affected 5. He played the whole game and he just scored 5 points. So that's a bit of a turn-off. His role is a bit of a turn-off. He's been getting a little bit of CBAs, I think around the 40 to 50%. Not too bad, but obviously it's not one of the roles like, if I was to pay 30K more and got a Matt Rao, I know what I'm pretty much getting. I'm getting a midfielder who's going to be in every centre bounce. Shai Bolton, yeah, obviously it's a great price. I'm not going to say don't pick him to anyone because look at all these numbers he's pumping out. What are your thoughts on Shy?
I kind of see it a slightly different way. So he's got the good buy. Then if you have a scroll down to his fixture over the buys, so he's got Gold Coast in that one. Then he's got North Melbourne, Essendon, and St Kilda. I see those as spike score games where you need best 18. So they could be huge. But let's say hypothetically he goes big in those games. Worst case scenario, you could flip him round 17 when he gets Sydney, Hawthorn, and Collingwood. He might have made you 120 to 150K. You've got huge scores over the buys, and you could flip him to like a Butters coming down in price. So you're making money going up, and then you're.
I don't know if I see him. Yeah, sorry, mate. I don't know if I see him. 150K, he'd be at 580.
Could happen if you have you pressed the projector.
I don't know that plug in.
Yeah, so scroll up.
Yeah, I didn't put on that plugin. You know where it's where you can put in what that projects the score and the money comes up. No, I haven't installed that one yet, mate. But look, you're saying St Kilda's a spike game. St Kilda's already scored his 5. So
yeah, I know, but I have a feeling that it's not going to happen again. And with the flex in play, that would cancel a Shy Bolton score. But again, you've got like a Dawson pick anyway, so it might not be your cup of tea. But yeah, I feel like MACRAE could do, like, the CBAs are there for him as well, and he is 30, 40 grand more expensive, but at least Bolton's got the DPP. So if people are looking for a replacement from MACRAE or a Horn Francis, you could actually make a bit of money on this play as well. So that's the other reason why I think it's not a worse shout. And he's got a lot of games at Optus Stadium to finish the year as well. Yeah,
that's true, mate. I mean, I'm a bit off him because of the buy as well. I mean, for everyone, it's probably a good buy, but I already got 4 primos in that buy, where he's in the Matty Rao buy, I've only got 2 primos. So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards him. I mean, if I only had, a Sinclair and a MACRAE, that's happy days. I think Shy Bolton's a pretty nice pick for his price. I mean, he kind of started the year cheaper, a little bit cheaper, but he's not a bad shout at all. It's just that buy. I got 4 primos already, so to get a 5th one in might be a bit of a early struggle for me, but he's definitely on my radar this week. So him, Rao, are 2 on my radar, and another bloke that is, if I can find his price, it's Luke Jackson. I think even when Sean Darcy comes back, he's been playing in the centre bounces. He's been playing in the midfield. If he's going against Vicentini alone this week, it's another big spike scorer, I'm thinking, and he's going to get rid of that 64 in his name. And if you do that, look at these numbers. They're pretty good. Forward ruck DPP. I mean, I don't mind him either. Same buy as Bolton. What do you think about Lukey J?
Yeah, I love that. I think this week the probably hottest buyers would be a Sinclair and a Luke Jackson. Just depends on the Darcy time frame. But Luke Jackson seems like a week of now and never because he's got an easy matchup. If Darcy's missing out again, he might just spike up out of, is a 600K or close to, he might be out of reach. So if MACRAE's got a 3 to 4 week injury, he's probably just a straight swap to Jackson because they've got the same buy. So you probably structure it for that as well. I like it.
Yeah, I do like Jacko. I mean, if his lowest number against the, is his 64, where every Freo player has done a really shit, so that's Sarong, Brayshaw, Shy Bolton, we still got a 5. This round he got a 64. Everything else is 91 or above, which is pretty good, man. And even when Sean Darcy's in the team, he's still been getting some CBAs as a midfielder and as a, kind of ruck relief. So not the end of the world. And I don't think, even if Sean Darcy's back next week, is he going to be playing every single one of these games? Probably not. So he's another good one to keep an eye on, only 9% of teams. Anyone else you like, mate?
Apart from Sinclair, which you already have, not really. I know Cheese is big on Taranto.
No.
Is it smoky? The scores are actually all right. I said the same thing, but these scores are okay. But I could do it personally.
I mean,
it's a left field pick though, and if he goes with it, it could pay off.
So the thing is, even if he has a good game against 30 touches, it's Taranto and he might be kicking them all to the opposition. It is Richmond, it is a bottom team. I will not endorse anyone on this page to pick Taranto. But as I said, I'm not the rank 47, mate. So,
and Jordan Clark's the other one as well, if you don't already have him, which you don't.
Yeah, Jordan Clark's another good one, man. I wish I could get all these players on their bye. Break even at 55. It's time to get him now or never. As again, look, another player who scored shit against St Kilda that game. So a down day for every docker. But other than that, hundreds, 94. You know, so this is a really consistent top 6 defender, in my opinion, and you can get him at a pretty good price. So that's probably the only people I'm looking at the moment. The Rouse, the Boltons, the Luke Jacksons, a couple of the other ones we said. I don't think there's anyone much cheaper than that I'd be considering, mate. Any left fields? I saw maybe a sneaky left field from you one, or you're a bit too embarrassed to mention that one.
Are you talking about Blitz or Jeremy Cameron?
I'm talking about Blitz, but Jeremy Cameron's also very funny. So.
Yeah, I don't mind.
How much is Blitz up so I can find him and bring him up?
I think he's 481.
Oof, that's an expensive Blitz. There he is, right on. So you're really considering this bloke?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Tell me why.
Well, he's got the ruck roll. Like, if you have a look at there, he's got one bad game of 45, but his ceiling will make up for those 80 games, I feel. Geelong's fixture opens up as well. Like, after this week, he's got West Coast, Gold Coast. He's got Essendon twice, still to play Richmond twice as well. Hence the Jeremy factor as well. Like, just such a good fixture coming home. A lot of those games are at home. We know that Scott can, turn DeConning into a ruckman anytime soon. But, yeah, if you wanted to play risky, you could do that. But I also like Jeremy Cameron for like 412K or something like that. Easy run.
He's an old bloke, man. Jeremy Cameron's a real old bloke. I don't want to tell the expert what to do, but damn, he's an old fuck. 108.
He'd be an okay flex position player, especially the fixture that the Cats have as a forward. Like, he'd be killing it.
Man, if you got the balls to do it, and you actually do it, and he scores well, what can I say? But, God, that's a lot of risk to incur. How old is he now? 50?
Yeah, 55. Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. But look at these numbers. I think it's 79, 62, 36, 74, 48.
You get for what you pay.
Highest number of he's close to a Shy Bolton, mate. And 108 is his highest score of the year. I don't know, man. Do you know 7 goals and he only gets you 108? That's...
I know.
No, surely not.
4 free kicks against as well, though. I think that's what evened that out a little bit. So, yeah, I don't know. I look at every option, and I'm not saying that's why I'm ranked so highly, but that's definitely a reason why I've been considering all these different moves, because you can look at the normal standard, what everyone else does every week, but at some point you got to look outside the box, and the best trade for me has been so far. A couple of weeks ago when I came on here, I was talking about I went from TDK down to Ryan Marshall, and then you see Marshall this week go nuts, and I was ahead of the competition by a week or two. So stuff like that, that's kind of why I look at those left field options, because if you do it a week or two before everyone else, they're paying up for those players. You've already banked the points and the cash.
Yeah. No, and it helped that TDK was injured the week after as well. So that all came out absolutely perfect for you. Bloody Marshall. So I advised captain on Sherry, and I was going to captain Marshall. So I didn't take that one. I took the 150. So, man, it would have been good if you got 100. I would have had Marshall captain. But this is probably what I'm thinking, mate. I'm going to get rid of bloody Trainer for Simpson. Let's see if we can swap our Hawley there, get Kako there, and we're going to trade in Cooper Simpson. First trade, I think that's pretty reasonable. Trainer was subbed off, and I don't think we're going to be – I don't know what's happening with Hawley. He played a real good half, and then Brad Scott said, no, you're trying too hard, mate. Let's get you off. Let's get you a nice rest. Here's the issue now. I've got so many players that might not play: Horn, Francis, Callaghan, potentially MACRAE. I can either go Callaghan out, but I would love to just get Kako out and just get a Bolton or a Matty Rao and just call that a day and just see if I can carry all these injured primos through the buys. Because either way, if I'm getting rid of Callahan or if I'm getting rid of, Kako, it's going to be one primo regardless. So I think maybe if the time frame isn't high, I can hold on to him. So that's probably what I'm thinking, mate. What are you thinking this week personally for your team?
I'm not trying to throw anyone off, but I'm actually really not sure. I've come up with about 6 different plans. I'm looking at maybe Bice and Callahan out for Bolton and Bowie, just because the price I have in my structure doesn't allow me to get a Josh Dacos or someone like that. So, yeah, potentially something where I try to get at least one upgrade done. I know Bolton's not much of an upgrade for a Callahan per se, but I plan to use his money elsewhere. So if I get Bolton, I can bank that money, and then I can put that money on top of Bice to grab Bowie, who's ranked number 10th defender overall at the moment, averaging a flat 100 for 488k. It just means I get rid of Trainer or Hooley off the field as well. So that's my potential plan. Other than that, I'd have to wait for the news like yourself with MACRAE and Callahan anyway.
Yeah, right. Mate, I apologise. I said you ranked 47. I've downgraded you 4 ranks. Rank 43. Excuse my French. No, you got a very nice team, mate. You got some really nice pods as well. You got the Edwards pick. You held faith with Chera. Yeah, not bad. I can't wait to see what you do this week. And you're thinking Bowie.
Oh, only because the money. Like I've got 31k in the bank, so I've looked at trading out Gawn because he's got a break even of 180, but with the Callahan injury, it sort of handcuffs me. Yeah, I'm sort of thinking Bowie just so I got a D6 now at 488k, and I don't got a lot of juicy cash cows that are more than 300k after this week anyway, so I'm a little bit stuck. So you sort of have to go for value.
Yep. And have you used the maximum amount of trades?
I don't know. I'm down to 15 by this week as well, like you are there.
Yeah. So that sounds pretty maxed out to me. What are we thinking for captains this week, loopholes, vice captains, et cetera, et cetera?
For myself, I'm actually looking at Bailey Smith VC into Merritt captain. I know Merritt hasn't been scoring well, but it's Richmond we're talking about. And the other one for yourself would probably be, exactly as you got it, VC Smith into Cherry. I don't trust the Wits matchup for a Marshall.
Yeah, I don't either.
But again,
promising signs. So Ned Moyle was playing as well and took a bit of the ruck duties off Wits. I don't know if they'll continue with that. It's the first time they've done it all year. Moyle scored a 30 or so, but yeah, Wits is a pretty tough ruckman to go against.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, Bailey Smith is the guy that we've sort of missed with the VCs and Cs and sort of been underlooking him just because we've had other options. But yeah, for a guy that people were hesitant to start, I had no questions whatsoever. I started him and it was like, I don't care because his price was so cheap. There's a bit of overthinking. The other thing I got to say that sort of annoyed me was people were trying to, get scared about Caleb Daniel and a Chera, but all these primos bounce back. So while everyone's sidewaysing, and this is no shots at anybody, of course, but
except for you, Matty.
That's how you get a good rank. Like, yeah, he scored a couple of 80s, but if you watch the games that he scored the 80s, like Adelaide trounced Carlton in the week after. Chera went back to the back line in the last quarter. So sometimes people just look at the scores and not factor in the actual game. And then Caleb Daniel's role with Sheasel pushing forward helps him a lot. So I don't know. I'd just be upgrading these rookies off the field like you were saying earlier in this video and then upgrading your side once it's fully complete rather than just swapping out primos every week and going behind the pack. It's probably the only reason why I'm ranked 43 at the moment is I've been working around those conundrums.
Yeah, that's the same thing. People traded out Callahan early. A lot of people went early on a lot of players that just had a bit of a dip in form. I mean, players are not going to go 120 every week. That's why I try to hold on to them. Even though I had in this Roberts, just still averaging 96, not the worst, but, it's a bit of it. Like the role's there. The form can come. Hopefully some of these rookies get a game. Camporale was an emergency again. Hoostwaite, I'm hoping he gets a game because Gold Coast won and maybe Hawthorn want to make some changes. Obviously, we spoke about Boxall. Maybe we can loop some of these guys and afford to keep some of these players. But if all these three are missing and Callahan's missing, I'm going to have to do something about that. And I really can't because I'm a bit boxed in here. But I'll work it out, mate. And I think that's kind of everything that we've need to talk about so far, mate, unless you got something else to add.
Nah, that's it for me as well. I'm pretty set. I hope we did
any sneaky pod via captains?
Any sneaky pods for VC and C?
I don't know if the Dogs are going to leave Bailey Smith alone. Like, I mean, they've been verbally stoushing each other in the news the last 3 weeks. I just don't see him getting a lot of freedom. So I'm a bit hesitant to put a VC on him. But is there anyone else you'd think about doing?
What do you mean by doing? I'm trying to have a look.
Having sex with them, obviously.
Dawson into Cherry, potentially. Sorry.
You can't do Dawson into Cherry. You have to do Cherry to Dawson, and that's scary.
Yeah. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. Yeah. Other than that, not really. Dacos is one, but yeah, he plays Cherry, so it's annoying. It
is. Obviously, if you've got Bont and you have Bailey Smith, I'll be going Bont VC. And I don't know why Cats are favourites. I think Dogs will win. But, so if you got Bont, if you got Butters, no one's probably going to tag me. You should go big. Gordon against Grundy, I'm not 100% on. Fort made him look pretty average until Gordon took a couple of contested marks towards the end of the game. It's a bit tricky. It's a tricky week. That's why it's always the best week to go maybe a sneaky vice captain. I think maybe 33% of SuperCoaches is going to go for Bailey Smith, or they have a Bont. So it might be something to go with. Maybe Locke Neal gets off the chain a bit. Maybe Tom Green has a big game against Carlton, or I think Lockie Whitfield had a really big game against Carlton. I could be wrong. I could be thinking about Josh Kelly, but it's a good. Yeah, it's a good time to pick a bit of a pod. There's no really standout. This player is going to absolutely smash it this week.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why when you said that question, I was like, well, I'm not really sure myself, because Neil could get a tag from McGuinness. Fremantle don't generally tag, so that game's more of an open field. So maybe a Brayshaw or Strong get off the chain in that one in the Port Adelaide matchup. So I like that game if I was picking a captain. And then, our forwards haven't been really relevant for VC and Cs apart from Smith. So that's what makes it hard this year is there's no one else bar Bailey Smith that you'd really see. Like, we've relied on MACRAE, but the issue is he goes 70 or a 150. There's no in between with him. So he's more of a VC candidate.
Yep. Spot on, mate. 100% agree with you. And once again, fantastic having you on. For rank 43, what comes next?
No idea. Win the whole thing and then take time off with the kids. I have no idea.
Easy, mate. I love that. That's a good yearly wage for you, mate. You get a nice 50K. Again, guys, please drop by SuperCoach Pro's YouTube channel. This guy is killing it, and he's got some great moves. See, like, even thinking about downgrading Gorn, no one's thinking about doing that. This bloke he's cashing in on the big bucks, saving like 250K, like a Gorn to DeConing even after his buy. That's 200K, and then, off the races. No one's thinking about this. Head to his channel, give him a sub, watch his stuff, and, you'll be much better for it.
Yeah, I do mainly live streaming at the moment as well. I still do my team reviews, but that's definitely where to find me is SuperCoach Pro. And then, Twitter, once again, SuperCoach Pro 91. So you'll find all my weird SuperCoach polls there with all these pod picks as well that you probably discussed something. I think, what is he doing here? But there is a reason why. Like, a lot of those social medias like X, you get a lot of information from other people at those, supporter bases that know more stuff than what you do. So you get a good idea of maybe I shouldn't go there or maybe I should. So, again, thanks for having me, though, mate. I appreciate it.
Nah, mate, pleasure having you on there. By far the best co-host I've had. And all the Nerds for Life, they're both pretty good. So, thanks again, mate. Good luck for the year. And thank you all, guys, for watching. If you're still tuning in, that you must be doing relatively well. And I'll catch you on the next one. See you later, guys. See you later, SC Bro.
Cheers, mate. See you later.